athlete. Sam has been an example for our football team, for all student athletes. He's an incredible example of what you want to be. And his toughness, his want to. I know, and I just know him personally, how hard this is for him to do this, because I know deep down in his heart he wants to play. And but really for his future, immediate and long range, we are all the way and fully supportive and want what's best for him. And as hard as it is for him to do, this is the right path to take. And again, we're just proud of Sam, and he's been a great, loyal teammate. And I know for his team and his teammates, he wants to be there for them, but he still will be just in, of course, his attitude and his presence. And it's just, again, unfortunate how things have worked. But I'll stop right there, and Sam, come on up.
Sam, could you talk about all the things, could you try to capsule all the things that you went through and went into to come to this decision?
Yeah, it was almost like making the decision, to stay in school or enter the draft last year. I wanted to get as many opinions as possible, talk to as many people, as we could to get enough information to make the right decision. And, after, talking to a lot of people and getting a lot of information, it seemed like, this is kind of the unanimous decision that everyone came to.
Was it still tough to leave then?
Yeah, I've dreamed about coming here. The first time I got hurt this year, it was tough, sitting on the sidelines, but I always knew I was coming back. So, that kind of, was the light at the end of the tunnel. But, to make this decision and realize that, I've probably played my last game at Oklahoma, it's really tough.
So you say probably your last game, and is there, if you happen to the surgery not go well, will you have had an agent, and so you're already committed to not coming back, or how's that going to work?
No. I'm not going to seek an agent until after the season. By doing that, I'll still be able to travel and, take part with this team. If surgery doesn't go well, if there are some complications and maybe, it's not as planned, then I do have the possibility of returning. But, hopefully that's not an issue.
January 15th, when you have to decide, it's 2.5 months. Yet we're being told it's a 4-month, 5-month, 6-month rehab. Will you have enough information come January 15th to make that decision?
I think so. I think, as long as I'm on the right track, as long as the doctors feel that I'm making the progress necessary, then I feel like I'll have plenty of information to make that decision.
Sam, how did you get connected to Dr. Andrews?
I think, at first it's something, our doctors wanted to send images when it first happened to him, and, we just kind of stayed in contact with him and talked to him, ever since.
You guys called him and your doctors called him and sent images his way?
Yeah, they talked to him, and then my dad's been in correspondence with him.
How much apart? What was happening last week, when we thought you were going to meet with us before, and then Coach Stoops put out a statement and said Sam needs more time. What was going on with you at that point?
Yeah, I think Sunday after the game, I talked to Coach Stoops, and I think, I felt like I would be ready to make a statement by then. And I don't think I realized, the magnitude of the situation and the information necessary to make, such a decision. And, I just felt like, a decision that big needed all the time necessary, and I just felt like I needed a couple extra days to get, as much information as possible.
How much part of it was checking with people? I know Coach Stoops said that he was checking with people in the league, but with your timeline possibly not being able to be in the combine, how much of that did you really find out or have to find out to feel comfortable?
Yeah, that was a big part of it. And Coach Stoops did, he talked to several people late last week and got some information, and, it was, very important information for me, and, I think it was good stuff for me to hear from those people.
Basically, you're not going to be hurt. They told you you're not going to be hurt as much if you can't do the combine.
Right.
Standing behind you, including Jermaine, who's been out all year. What kind of emotion have you gone through? Obviously, ups and downs all season, but have you, reached a finality emotionally of like my career at Oklahoma is over? And how do you depend on the support of these guys right here behind you?
Yeah, my teammates have been great. They've supported me all through it, and really, I thought last week at Kansas, I thought it was going to be easier. Coming back, I'd been hurt, I'd missed some games, but. Last week was probably the hardest game, I've ever had to sit on the sidelines, especially after the game. To come into the locker room and just see everyone celebrating and just realize that, I'm not really going to be a part of that much more. It's pretty tough.
talk about what you've seen, what you think the last half of this season holds for this team?
I think everything's in front of this team. I'm extremely proud of the way everyone bounced back, after the loss at Texas. I still feel like, we fought tremendously hard during that Texas game. We came up a couple plays short, but, to rebound the way we did last week and go on the road, in a tough atmosphere and to get a win, I think that just shows the character of this team and, where we're going the rest of the year.
Sam, this went from being a third degree, second degree shoulder separation, they said 2 to 4 weeks, to now you're going to need surgery. What transpired there? Why do you need surgery? What exactly is wrong with the shoulder and the ligaments?
It's really the same thing, but, when it first happens, surgery, everyone felt that wasn't needed. The best thing was to try to let the shoulder heal itself. And, we tried that, and, it did heal, and I was able to play. But then, going back out, the first hit I took on it, I re-injured it. And, it's just something they feel like, as long as I keep trying to come back, it's just going to keep re-injuring when I take a hit.
What is surgery going to do for you exactly?
It's going to just I think it's going to pretty much repair the joint, put it back to normal, and, just strengthen it.
So they told you that you would re-injure it if you went back out. Before that time, after you got hurt, were you thinking still come back after the injury at Texas?
I thought that was a possibility. I wasn't sure, what exactly the doctors were going to tell me. Obviously, I knew there was a possibility that they were going to tell me my season was over, but I still thought, I might be able to come back. But, talking to them Sunday, I realized that it was probably, not going to happen.
Landry says openly that he's been a tutor under you, that he follows you, tries to follow your leadership and things like that. What do you see for him the rest of the year and in his career at OU?
I think Landry's a great player, and I think, he's been put into some really tough situations this year. I think it's not easy, come in the middle of a game, especially, going through practice, not getting as many reps, as a starter. And I think he's just done a tremendous job, especially stepping up and being a leader of this team. Last week I was extremely proud of him, going on the road in the Big 12, playing against a ranked team and playing the way he did. I just think it shows, the tremendous, upside that he has. And I think he's going to be a great player here.
Individually, Sam, your focus would have to be, I assume, on having successful surgery and entering the pro ranks, right? You cannot sit there and go, well, if this fails, I might return to Oklahoma. Don't you have to individually look forward to the positive part of it and moving on in your football career?
Right, and, that's where my mindset is right now. It's unfortunate that I have to have surgery, but, I look forward to the challenge of the rehab process and getting my shoulder back to where it is and entering the draft and showing everyone that I'm still the same player, that I was before I got hurt.
Sam, take stock in just a second from what you meant to the guys standing behind you and coming into the room. I mean, Kenny has talked repeatedly about how the level of popularity you've reached, not just in terms of what you've done on the field, but off it. It's pretty rare and unique, and I'm wondering if I get you to address that.
Like I said earlier, these guys have been so supportive, and I think that's one of the hardest things, about being hurt is we go through so much together. We go through workouts with these guys. I mean, I spend more time with these guys than I do anyone else. And, to go through as much as we go through and then just to have it taken away and not get to play with them and not to, get to compete with them, that's the hardest thing. And that's the hardest thing about sitting on the sideline is knowing that, if I was healthy, I could help these guys. And it's just that helpless feeling knowing I can't be out there with them.
What are your thoughts about the team's lost 3 games, but you were so close and what it might have been had you been able to play and the season be quite a bit different?
I don't know if I can really answer that. I think, we are extremely close. We've had 3 losses by, I think, 5 points. And, we're a couple plays away in every game from winning. But, like I said, I think this team has a lot of character, and it was shown last week the way we came out and played against Kansas. I think everyone realizes that we still have a lot of football left in this season, and, I look forward to helping these guys win.
Sam, you said one of the reasons you wanted to come back was to get your degree. Even though you're intending to go to the NFL, are you still going to be able to get that in December?
I will not get it in December. I'll be a couple hours short, but talking to my advisors, I think I'll be able to take a couple online classes, and I should be able to finish in the spring.
What type of advice did your family give you?
As far as?
In your decision process?
They really just tried to help me gather information. They wanted it to be my decision, but, they told me they supported me, no matter what I decided. And, they really just told me, to stay positive and, whatever decision I make, just have my heart in it 100%.
As much as you put into this season and all the hard work and building your body and hanging out with these guys and stuff and continuing those relationships, any regrets about not coming out last year?
No, absolutely, 100%, no regrets.
Sam, throughout this process, whose advice did you put the most stock in?
Everyone's really, Coach Stoops, he played a big part in it. He talked to a lot of very, important people, at least I felt, in making the decision. Coach Heupel, all my coaches, my family, the doctors, pretty much everyone who had a part in it. But I think, some of the people that Coach Stoops talked to late last week, really helped me make my decision. I don't know if you really need to know who they were.
All the offenses around here, all the quarterbacks, is it motivation for you to kind of finally be that guy that breaks through and becomes a star at the NFL level?
I don't know if it's so much, the people around here as it is just for me and myself. It's something that I've wanted to do. I look at it as another challenge, and I look forward to working as hard as I can to make it happen.
When did you believe that you could be an NFL player? How old were you?
I don't know. I made that decision, that I wanted to go to the NFL, probably a long time ago. Growing up, I think everyone, you grow up wanting to go to the NFL. Obviously, I grew up in Oklahoma. I wanted to play here, but you grow up, you watch the Super Bowl, you watch all the quarterbacks. It's something I dreamed about. As far as realizing if I can be, I still think that's yet to be known. I think I've got a long way, and I've got a long way to go to prove that to people, and prove that to myself.
Was this decision made a lot more difficult? I wonder. You were probably ready to investigate this decision after the season. You probably were all set up to, I'm going to play this year and then receive a lot of information and decide, I guess, all over again whether you're going to go or not. You're thrust into it, sooner than you wanted to. Did that make the process of it more difficult?
Yeah, I think maybe at the beginning it did. It felt a little overwhelming. It's obviously something that I prepared and wished that I was dealing with at the end of the season. But, I think going through the process last year, really helped me understand what all needed to be done and, who I needed to talk to. So that made it easier. Yeah.
How has it made you feel the interest nationally in your every move, your injuries, your return, your news conferences? Heisman Trophy winners certainly, but I think it's pretty much on the up and up that everybody is interested in what Sam Bradford's doing, what your career's, what shape it's going to take. How does that make you feel?
A couple different. I don't really pay attention to the media much, so I couldn't tell you that I knew that. But sometimes I really wish it wasn't that big of a deal. But obviously, if it is, then it's a nice compliment to me and my teammates and what we're doing here at this university.
Sam, do you ever wish, obviously you probably do, as a college student, you're kind of viewed as a commodity, obviously a Heisman winner, the NFL, all of this. You really loved college life. Do you ever wish that people remembered that you were a college student at, first?
Sometimes, definitely.
Does that make it, how much more difficult did that make the decision as far as putting your whole college experience behind you, moving forward onto the business of professionalism and money and all that stuff?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's extremely tough considering that this is where I grew up and this is where I dreamed about playing. And, to put this in the past, it's extremely tough. But, I've been extremely blessed to be here. And, the past 3.5 years have been, 3.5 of the best years of my life. And, I wouldn't trade, a day of it.
Draft, Sam, how much do you know about the draft and how slotting salaries and things like that works? Zero right now? Or?
Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
So basically the relationships you're talking about wipe away the financial, the amount of money that you would have missed out on.
No doubt. I've said this many times. Some people think, money's everything, but to me, money is not everything. To look at these guys and look at the friendships that I've built and the experience, that I've had here. Not many people can say that. I wouldn't trade. Like I said, I wouldn't trade any of it for money.
Sam, you set all kinds of records. You played in the national championship game. You won your trophies and things like that. When you look back at your career, you're going to be pretty satisfied with what you accomplished.
Definitely. Obviously we're a little disappointed that, we didn't win the national championship last year, and I think that's something that's probably always going to bug me and, bug everyone who was a part of that team. But, if you look back at some of the things we've done over the past couple of years, I think we've been, extremely blessed.
When you're leaving, presumably, college life and this football team, was the decision still bigger than that? I mean, do you feel like you're walking away from youth? I mean, you've got to go into, the real world where the people working for you and all of these other things, and it's a lot to step into. So, do you feel like you're losing your youth in some way?
I don't know if you can say that. I mean, I'm still relatively young, I think. I think I'm still, yeah.
Beyond just walking out of this program at the end of, I guess, the season.
Yeah, I think, I mean, anytime you enter the professional anything, I think you do lose something. Obviously, things do change, but, like I said, it's just, another chapter of my life, and I look forward to it. I think it's a new challenge, and, I'm up for it, and, I can't wait to start working as hard as I can to, succeed, in that chapter.
And would you be willing to clarify, you took out that insurance policy, does that have any impact here, or as long as you play in the NFL, that's not?
I really don't want to discuss that.